Evening, folks. We are back slightly later than anticipated. I'm using the word slight very loosely there, but we're back nonetheless. Another Dynamite review. Last week we kicked off this kind of new era where the Thursday show is purely Dynamite, and we're going to continue there tonight. I'm in the driver's seat. This could go any which way. For better or worse, I'm steering the ship this evening, but nonetheless, we do have an expert panel as always. Ayo, I know full well how you are because we've been talking for the last half an hour, but nonetheless, how are you tonight, mate?
Good. I'm good. I'm ready to talk. Ready to talk
Tremendous.
raps. You know, 3 black fans. Unfortunately, ran on colored people time tonight. Not gonna point any fingers, you know, but that cough was a shoot. Excuse me. But you know,
It sounded like it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
it was a shoot, bro. It was a shoot. I unfortunately inhaled my blunt right when you called on me, and that's how that.
Look, we got to figure. The first time hosting you, let's get some chemistry to work out. You know, man. We'll figure it out.
Mid inhale, Joe. Come on, man.
In future, I'll go to Charlie first, but tonight, because Chuck just got here, I was going to give her like a minute to, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But I'm glad you're well, nonetheless. Charlie, you did literally just arrive, so
I did.
Yeah, you had good reason to be late. So, yeah. Okay, go for it.
I've been in my house for like all of 4 minutes. Like London trains, man, they're never on my side. But I was at the Graps tonight, had a great time. Watched Leon Slater wrestle Robbie X and Michael Oku at Riot Cabaret. There were some other matches. Don't ask me about them because my brain's kind of everywhere at the moment. But I'm doing good. It was a fun evening. Ready to talk some Dynamite.
You've blown my mind with this. There's wrestling on tonight. I had no idea this is why you were late. Okay, I don't know. I can't figure out if I respect this more or less now. I don't know. There's a Leon Slater match, which is good. So, yeah. Out of respect for you, I'm not going to look at the rest of the card. I'm just going to say, okay, Leon Slater, that sounds good. All right. Nonetheless, Dynamite, this was what the penultimate Dynamite before Revolution. We've all been pretty positive on this build. I think that's been the consensus, right? Everyone's been positive on this build. And it's interesting, too, because historically, the Revolution cycle kind of tests AEW's creative, right? It's a little bit longer. This one's obviously been shortened by World's End, but I'm intrigued just before we get into kind of the piece by piece of this particular episode. Charlie, I'll throw it back to you first. Where are you at overall right now in terms of your excitement? And you're going to Greensboro, which is a little bit of a boost, but what have you made of the TVs kind of, you know, getting you fired up for that show?
I was a little bit worried about how early they started building the Revolution card, because normally I'm just like, man, they never start building the pay-per-views early enough. And then Revolution, it was just like, bam, beginning of January, like we already know what the first match is. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Like we're going straight into it. But no, I think the build's been really good. It's been really consistent. Like even when the TV hasn't been the strongest, it's been pushing the stories forward, which is sometimes that's all you can hope for when you've got like 8 weeks to build a pay-per-view. So, but no, I think it's been pretty good. They've done a decent job of it.
I agree, and it feels like we always use, you know, the restore the feeling thing and all that stuff and getting back to what AEW. But in a weird way, it does feel like a slightly different version of AEW in a positive sense, because to your point, Charlie, like not all of these TVs are 10 out of 10s, right? It's like it feels like it's more cohesive to me. How would you compare this say the last 6 weeks or so with prior AEW TV runs? Because it does feel like a slightly more like polished version of it, I think, even if not as chaotic or kind of, you know, exciting necessarily.
No, I agree, because even when AEW was at what people call it 2021, like peak AEW or whatever, the pay-per-view cycles, that nobody ever accused AEW of having fantastic go-home shows or like cycle long builds to matches or whatever. They tried it with the Double or Nothing 4 Pillars match. It was a train wreck, you know. It didn't go well when they tried it there, but now they're telling cohesive stories. They're telling people stories that they could grab onto. Like even though they tried it again with the MJF Jay White World's End stuff, another train wreck. But like this time I would say the closest thing that we have to that, and it's not even like that bad, would be Roddy and Orange Cassidy on like them telling a story that, you know, maybe doesn't need to be 6 weeks or however long it ended up being. Maybe we probably should just have this match on TV. But they've been doing a good job. You know, the Kingdom stepped up. They've had two good TV matches. OC's doing his thing. I'm ready for Roddy to get this belt. But I like the new approach to it. I like how they're really weaving everything in and out leading up into the pay-per-view. I hope this is a trend that continues.
Yeah, it feels like it's a promotion that's kind of learnt from some mistakes, also brought back some old strengths, but improved on some of those weaknesses too. It's very encouraging, I think, even on shows where, like, we'll get into it. I didn't even love this episode necessarily, but it's just I kind of am into the direction. As you see there, the wonderful banner at the bottom of our screen. Please do like, subscribe, and if you're feeling generous, super chat. We'll be going through those here along the way, but nonetheless, let's get into the episode itself. We started with AO's favorite tag team, the FTR, of course, opposite the Blackpool Combat Club duo of Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley. As soon as I started reading time cues, I kind of figured out where we were going here, but I had a tremendous time of it nonetheless. I don't think anyone's going to get points for guessing that I like this match, but I'm intrigued what you both thought of it. AO, maybe not your favorite tag team, but what did you make of this opening match?
Joe, you will be receiving something in the mail from me. I'm willing to accept a lot of bits. I'm willing to accept a lot of insults, but me being accused of being a FTR enjoyer, saying that FTR is my favorite tag team. Honestly, I'd rather you just get up here and just start spewing slurs. You know, like we know you to do when we're off air, but this time on air with the camera rolling, Joe.
That backfired on me incredibly, didn't it? Well, there you go, folks.
Dude.
But I enjoyed this match. FTR has started this new thing where it's like we don't do 15 anymore, brother, and we sure as hell don't do 10. Like they're gonna when they wrestle, they're gonna try to go the distance. I love Puros. I obviously don't have an issue with long matches, but the way that they put them together, I do have an issue with, because it's just like they start out really slow, and I get they really try to build to something, but I don't know. I feel like I just missed the first 10 minutes of these matches, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't enjoy this match. I liked it a lot, especially the closing stretch. Claudio Castagnoli is a fucking machine, bro. When I saw him do that transition into the sharpshooter, bro, I had to run that back 3 times. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch, bro? Like, he's really one of the best in the world. Jon Moxley, yes. He doesn't have the big matches in 2024, but if you look at his week to week television, what he's putting together, like, he has an argument for Wrestler of the Year already. He's been killing it in 2024. Last night was no different. I'm really curious to see what they do in Revolution. It's not, they didn't announce stipulation, right, Joe? It's just they just did a tag match.
There was in the backstage segment, Cash. Some of his verbiage was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I think they may do an Iron Man, which, to be totally honest, I don't think it's the right move on a card of this depth. I would suggest a bloodbath, to be honest. I'd be going double dog collar, that kind of direction, to be totally. But that's just me. I don't know.
This would be a really weird pay-per-view to try to squeeze an Iron Man match into, especially just like a tag team Iron match of a feud that's literally like 2 weeks deep now at this point. I agree. I think it should be a bloody brawl here. But BCC, they can make magic happen, man. They can help FTR produce enjoyable TV. Who would have fucking thought? Who would have thought, Joe? Not you.
Lesson 1, don't throw Teo first. Lesson 2, do not accuse him of liking FTR. I'm learning quickly. But we agree on Claudio Castagnoli, who at one point did this sort of like, he did this like double back suplex thing where he just sort of
that was amazing, guys. Bro. That just
I don't know how he does it. It's insane.
I agree he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but he's genuinely like one of the greatest tag team workers ever, right? Like he's had 8 different tag runs. But Charlie, what did you think of? Yeah, he's spectacular. What did you think of this tag team time limit draw?
The first 10 minutes, it was like just kind of whatever. I'm kind of with AO on the fact like the closing stretch was fucking incredible. Like it's kind of undeniable. Like FTR they're very good at a closing stretch. Like whether you like them or not, that is like one of the strengths in wrestling. No, but I did really like the match overall. It was just like the first like 8 minutes, I was kind of like, I mean, they're wrestling. There's nothing wrong with what's happening. It's just not like overly for me. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Again, Claudio, pretty much the MVP of this match. I'm not. Maybe it's just a bias because of who's in the other tag match, but I don't know that doing 2 stipulation tag matches on Revolution was the right call, especially because what the other tag match is. But that being said, I'm going to enjoy the match probably, depending on what the stipulation is. So
yeah,
is what it is.
You definitely need to space them out. I mean, I think the Sting Tornado tag is a very particular genre at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be chaos. I think whatever the stipulation is, it needs to be worked differently for sure. But yeah, I definitely hear you both on the kind of opening 10. I liked it more, but I will say beyond the pacing part of it, they also did, I think, the crowd they struggle slightly with the dynamic here, right? In that, like, you know, the BCC they're the BCC.
Yeah.
And so you cheer them or boo them. And you could see they were kind of navigating that. But I do think it was very much wrestled, and I mean it's a compliment. It felt like it was wrestled as like a setup for a bigger match. And considering this turned out to be pretty damn good, I think that's promising. So I'm excited. Again, the Iron Man thing, I have some hesitation, but I think it's, you know, this was a good step nonetheless, and this has given them some good TV over the last couple of weeks. Post match, there was the big brawl, which is kind of more of what we've been seeing from these two. It's a very simple conflict here, right? I mean, it's literally like they said, anyone wants to step up, the FTR come out, and that's that, and we're off the races. So
it reminds me a lot of the FTR Briscoes feud in that sense, where it's just like, you guys say you're the best, we think we're the fucking best, and we're both really angry about y'all not thinking that we're the best. One complaint that I do have about this match is the whole timekeeper thing. Like, just do it every match. Like, I don't like when we hear that there's 5 minutes remaining. That means, well, we're heading towards a draw. Pretty much, like, it's an automatic draw once we hear 15 minutes past, 5 minutes remaining. Just do it every match.
Yeah,
I agree. Also, is 20 minutes the norm?
No, it's 30.
Yeah, so that's the other. Yeah.
So that's another thing that is just like non-title matches are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or maybe the opening match has a different number, but I know
I feel like I've heard them say 20 before.
Matches is just 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone in the chat has a better read on this because we're all. But it's you're absolutely right. The time cues need to be a consistent thing because otherwise it's like. Now, to their credit, I will say in this particular case, last week they did use this last week, right? Do you remember last week in the Moxley Dax match? They did the time cue for that, and then they did a finish to kind of set this up.
Yeah.
So they did cover it in this particular case, but you're still generally right. I mean, the main event went, I think, 22 minutes. And I don't think there was any time cues in that. It was quite long. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Not like a huge deal, but I agree with you. That's kind of detail.
They're saying it's 20 for TV. Maybe I was mistaken. Championships are 30 to 60.
So then, but wasn't Hangman Swerve went 30, right? I'm not.
Yeah, that went 30.
Yes.
That went
30. That had a 5-minute time limit. Maybe because it was a contendership match.
I don't know.
Bro, I feel like Orange Cassidy opens the show with matches that are longer than 20 minutes at times. I don't know.
It probably is just the entrances in the packages probably come to 20.
Yeah.
For one of those deals. Yeah. But nonetheless, speaking of Orange Cassidy, in a backstage interview, and they basically said he's injured, but not so injured they can't wrestle. Was what they was the conclusion here. This, of course, to hype up the big time Mike Bennett match that was ahead of us. And yeah, I don't think any of us really need to comment on that. And then there was the FTR promo that we kind of just discussed here a moment ago, and setting up whatever they're going to do at Revolution. Okay, let's go back to Orange Cassidy's match with Mike Bennett. One of those matches where I felt bad about my own disinterest because I thought the work was quite good.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, it's like we all know where we're going here. It felt like an unnecessary stop along the way. Now, I know there was some talk of cancellations and injuries hurting the Dynamite card, so I get it. It happens sometimes. But couldn't really get into this Bennett Cassidy match. Charlie, how about you?
Yeah, I just kind of watched it. Like, I don't know, it wasn't a very memorable match. Like, there was nothing, like you said, there was nothing wrong with the work or anything. They wrestled a good match, but it wasn't an interesting match. It kind of just lost me along the way, but it was just kind of there on the card. I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest.
Hopefully the Kingdom get rolling as a tag team here soon. You know, I know they're part of Roddy's build at the minute, but I think it'd help the division. Honestly, they're a genuinely good team. Ayo, did this do anything for you, mate?
Nah, I mean, no. It's just another one of those matches. Was just like, all right, I have a title match coming up. Let me beat up on his stooges really quick on the build to this thing. As much as I enjoyed the Taven match last week, I didn't have any delusions that the Mike Bennett match was gonna be as good or match that. Not because I think any less of Mr. Kanellis, but you know, it's just a middle of the card, non-stip.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy versus Mike Bennett match. Like I didn't think a lot was gonna happen. A lot not much did happen. It just was what it was. It wasn't bad viewing TV. You know, it was just a match that they threw on there.
Yeah, of course. What we realized afterwards was it was just a setup for the big angle of AEW's 2024. As the big man is back, Jake Hager returns here at home, and he was dressed. I believe he was dressed as Orange Cassidy's big brother, right? I believe is what he was going for.
It didn't look like.
Taz had one of the all-time great AEW calls in which he just sort of went, "Is that Hager?" Which was the best. It was the best anyone could do. This is, of course, the point in the program where I announced that I will be tuning into Rampage for this Roderick Strong Jake Hager match because, of course, it's a curse. Unfortunately, I can't. That was inevitable, but can't believe it's the question I'm asking, Charlie. But any thoughts on Jake Hager saving Orange Cassidy?
It was really funny because we'd been talking on the watch along literally like 5 minutes into the match. Like they were in Oklahoma. I was just like, what fucking wrestlers are from Oklahoma? And Marcus was like, oh, Jake Hager's from Oklahoma. And then lo and behold, here comes Jake Hager. Good for him getting a hometown pop. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Hopefully somewhere Jim Ross was pumping his fist. The big man is back.
He's a former world champion, god damn it.
Okay, Ayo, tell me, are you watching this Rampage match?
I'm watching the Rampage. Bro, I like Hager. I'm not like I understand he's not the best big man out there, but he has the ability to have matches that are somehow enjoyable. And it's Roderick Strong, bro. That's a real dynamic that I want to see. I feel like he's gonna get him up there for the end of Heartache. I'm trying to see that. Yeah, man. I Jake Hager got some weird political views. You know, the all-American himself, bro. He was a former world champion.
He was.
Fucking wrestled Oklahoma. Like, put some fucking respect on his name. Y'all treat him like he's a jobber. It's crazy.
One of the best AEW bits was like when he was in the inner circle, JR would still call his matches like he was a rookie. And he would be like, he's gonna put it together one of these days.
One of these days, oh my god, when he does, watch out.
But I agree with you. Like, I think stylistically, this is actually going to be genuinely fun. And because Roddy's, he has one way, right? He's going to just charge at Jake and throw chops and try and throw him around. So I think he's going to kind of force. And Jake's at home. I think this is going to be. I think it's going to be fun. I say all this, and this match will probably suck now, but nonetheless, Ayo, do we have any super chats to work through here before we move forward?
We do. We appreciate y'all for the super chats. Keep them coming in. Bam, $2 super chat. Thank you, bro. Hangman's story is weird. I just hope everything is okay. Fightful's pretty much said it was a straight up work. As soon as Hangman got backstage, he was walking perfectly fine. The Observer had like a midday update saying that Hangman might not be on the show or something like that.
Yeah,
like he has something personal going on. He might not be there. Hopefully that's a bunch of hubbubaloo. Well, you know, we'll see. Last time they said Hangman was gonna miss a pay-per-view, he ended up missing the pay-per-view. So, which was All Out 2021. Bam with another $2 super chat. Purist 3.0. Golden emojis. We appreciate you. Garcia needs to win. I agree. We're definitely gonna touch on that. That was another one of the high points of Dynamite. I really like that segment. We're definitely gonna touch on that segment. Pizza Dog, $5 super chat. We appreciate you. What should Okada's first match officially be with AEW once he starts up? And why should it be Chuck Taylor? Appreciate your hard work. Keep it up. I kind of want him to get away from the whole best friends are in chaos thing once he gets to AEW. It was a fun bit when he was a visitor, but I think if he is gonna have like a chaos faction, let's work something else out. I don't know what his first match should be. I was thinking it would be Mox before this FTR tag thing came to fruition. I was thinking Mox doesn't really have anything. It would be a really big match. But then also like that's a match that you could build a whole pay-per-view cycle around.
Yeah.
So it would be a weird thing to just do as an open challenge itself. So I'm not sure what I want Okada to do first.
When do we think he's showing? Do we think that's happening at Revolution?
I was convinced. I'm not so much convinced anymore, but then again, I was convinced he was wrestling Moxley, so I don't know. We might get a coin drop.
It would be a great 1-2 punch if he came in at Revolution and then you could announce his first match would be Big Business.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. That's definitely how I would do it.
How about now? This is logic-wise, this is a little loose because I know in New Japan they were great rivals, but the image more is what I'm thinking here. We all think Ospreay is going to be going against the Don Callis family, right? He's not actually going to be part of that moving forward. The idea of him beating Takeshita, refusing Don, the Hills put the boots to him, Okada makes the save there. And then you could have bringing Okada in with an all-star tag alongside Will Ospreay. That would be a pretty cool statement, right? That would be a pretty cool moment and visual.
Awesome.
Yeah, it would be. I guess it would be Hobbs and Takeshita, right? I guess
this is not New Japan anymore.
Yeah, Kyle's still in Australia for God knows how long because of visa issues. So it'd probably be Hobbs and Takeshita.
Which is a shame because that specific match, Kyle would probably be better suited for, honestly. And I love Hobbs. I'm a bigger fan of but that particular match, I think Kyle would fit. I don't know. I agree with you about the best friends thing in terms of this. If you're going to do this right, you got to present him like it's the biggest signing in the history of the game.
Yeah.
You got to, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, what he's done and his resume speaks for itself. You got to nail that part of it because as great a wrestler as Okada is, and obviously I'm not breaking any news on that front, he is a lot of it is packaging and presentation. He's been treated as a big deal, so you got to do the same. But it'll be interesting for sure. That will be definitely saying that as we do these reviews, one of the big topics this year is going to be the handling of those free signings, right? That's going to be defining, I think, for AEW's 2024. So time will tell, folks. Please do keep the super chats coming. Meanwhile, we have a backstage segment here that was like a jump scare for me as someone who doesn't watch much Rampages. Angelo Parker was talking to Renee about he was off for a date, and then Ruby Soho showed up, and then in a truly speaking of jump scares, the pan up to Ric Flair was terrifying.
That was crazy.
I thought it was the Bucks. I got well hyped.
Everybody on stream thought it was the Bucks. He's like, okay, they got their fancy shoes on, they got their suits on. I just see Ric Flair's wrinkly ass chest. I'm like, oh no.
And he looked sort of lost. And then they said after the break, we're going to hear. So then this was fascinating. So Ric Flair talked to Renee, and Renee had a microphone, and it seemed to be an interview, but Rick seemed to be treating it like he was just talking to her like at catering. It was the way he approached it was weird. And he said he was upset. He wasn't, hadn't been involved in the Sting thing. He's going to explore other avenues, and then immediately walks to see the Bucks. Within a second. And in a strange way, Rick's, reputation would be the word, allowed this to work because for a second I actually just assumed he was just airing his grievances on national TV.
Yeah, I thought he was shooting, bro. We all thought he was shooting on screen.
And that kind of sums up, this actually worked exclusively because he would do something like that. So he was able to kind of do this bizarre segment that didn't really make sense, but for him, I guess, did. Charlie, you're going to be there. How do you feel about Ric Flair potentially being in your actual favorite tag team's corner for this one? How do you feel about that?
I'm really upset about it. Can you?
Yeah. They can't all be winners, Charlie.
We can't. Bro. They should just super kick him in the face. I don't know what people want from me. I don't give a fuck about Ric Flair. I don't want him in AEW. It is what it is at this point. I'm not going to keep fucking waxing poetic about it. But yikes.
It was interesting that, I guess they're not doing a turn. It just seems he's just now going to
He's just
I don't
with
know.
Bucks.
Is he just going to be with the
There
Bucks?
was no follow-up on Dynamite. He just walked into a dressing room and did nothing. I was like, all right, I guess I got to tune into fucking Rampage to find out what happened.
Yeah, it was a cliffhanger, I guess, for 74-year-old Ric Flair. That's what it was. Hey, where do we stand on Young Bucks coach, Nature Boy Ric Flair?
You see, this is 100% FTR's fault. I have not put all the pieces together on how they forced the Bucks to have to be in cahoots with Flair, but I'm assuming he catches the EVP trigger or a super kick. I think I don't think it's gonna be as cut and dry as Sting didn't give me enough attention. I'm with the Bucks now. We'll see, because it doesn't really. They had a mission statement when they turned heel.
Yeah,
and it was pretty much, we gotta get all these old leeches out of here, bro. And who fits that label more than Ric Flair?
Who's
bro?
older and more of a leech?
Yeah, who's more of a leech than Flair? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they give him an EVP trigger and make him gig. That'll be a moment in time.
He'll definitely do that. He'll definitely do that. It won't take much convincing.
He'd be game.
There's a comment in the chat that says he's probably a double agent to help Sting. That may actually be what it is.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going. That's how he ends up catching the super kick or EVP trigger. I don't.
Got you. Okay, yeah. Because I could see, because Ibu did mention to me they might want to do like a thing where he gets him like a babyface pop for like doing something, like he low blows one of the Bucks or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to be careful with the Flair stuff for a range of reasons, but in this specific reason, because like you don't want him overshadowing Sting's match, because Rick has many, many faults, and one of them is that he's like, if he's out there, he has to be the center of attention.
Yeah, he's the center of attention.
And this is Sting's night, and Sting's personality isn't built that way. So you don't want it to become about Ric Flair turning on the Young Bucks and Greensboro, because it isn't about that. But again, for what it's worth, in a vacuum as a segment, I actually thought it was well done exclusively because it was believable that Ric Flair would just say, I think my creative's bad. So
yes,
there's a compliment in there somewhere. Take it however you would like. Now, many compliments ahead for this. We were just discussing this kind of loosely a moment ago. Daniel Garcia came out for an in-ring interview, and this felt like a really significant moment for him. We talk a lot about kind of the lack of baby faces coming out and just talking to the people. And this is a young baby face who just turned a few months ago. And he was confident. He was likable, but he had some fire, right? He was like, he was talking some shit. He was out there, and Christian came out. They had some back and forth. Of course, Christian played a familiar hit. Garcia actually had a great response for it. This was honestly kind of, even as a big fan of Garcia, I thought this was kind of eye-opening in terms of like how far he's come as a personality.
Yeah.
He had a real presence here. This was big time. What did you make of the big in-ring promo, Garcia and Christian?
Oh, this was a great fucking segment, bro. Like, Garcia went out there, started talking first. I was like, this is good stuff. I could get behind this. I could get behind you as babyface, as a character now. And then Christian came out. He did his whole Christian thing. He was responsive to the crowd. He was responsive online. And then, like, I never in a million years would think that, like, DG would be able to, like, shoot back, like, just get his shit off back at Christian. The crowd's behind DG. They're roaring after what he says, bro. He's making people believe. I believe now. I think he's winning Saturday. I haven't asked him. I don't know. I think he's winning, bro, and I think he should win. I think it's a good call. Edge versus Christian never needed the TNT title to be the feud that it's been, which I've enjoyed it a lot, and I don't think the TNT title is taken away from it. But you don't need the TNT title in that feud. So I think putting it on DG, and then eventually moving away from that. DG said that once he wins the title, he's gonna want his rematch with Edge. I think Christian will probably get involved with that again or something like that, and that leads back to Edge versus Christian, so I can finally blow that off. But yeah, man, I love this segment.
Yeah, this really did feel like we all know what he can do in the ring, and I think we've liked his promos for a while now. But this is the kind of thing that you look at and say he can play a much bigger role on the show than he has been, and he's been getting a bigger role, increasingly as of late.
Yeah,
Charlie, I assume you were as big a fan as this as we were?
Absolutely, I was. I was like when they did the disqualification the way they did last week. I was so worried Danny wasn't getting the match, but we're here. We made it. He's getting the match, and this promo, like I think this is like the best Danny's ever been on the mic, like. And he's just improved like leaps and bounds, especially like since the Continental Classic. He's been on quite the fucking tear on TV. Like between like that and doing the stuff he did on Collision with FTR, and he's just been killing the game. Like he's like who people should be looking at as an example of like pushing through and getting back where you need to be, because he had a rough 2023 at points. Like we can't sit here and pretend that it's been all sunshine and rainbows, but good on him for getting to this point, and him coming back at Christian and saying, I'll put you in the ground next to him is like one of the craziest things I've ever heard a babyface say, but I'm here for it, man. He fucking killed it. So happy for him.
Tremendous delivery on that line too. I want to kind of get into this a little more before we do. Again, folks, please do like, subscribe, and if you are feeling generous, keep those super chats coming. But I was thinking about this as I was watching it. Like, it feels like there's a role for Garcia to play here as a babyface that honestly the promotion I think has been kind of short on for a while, which is like young babyface who he's likable and has a certain charm, but he's not like this white meat dog, you know, like he's still he'll talk shit and he'll make a challenge and he'll say to Adam Copeland, I was going to tap you out. I think this is the ceiling here is big time. Now, you mentioned the TNT title part of this. I'm not sure, because I agree with you that I'd like him to win. I'm not totally writing off the idea that Copeland may actually be the one turning here. And the reason I say that is that was very noticeable the way Garcia made that point about Copeland, right? That point about like, I would have tapped you out. Yeah. We'll wrestle again. I could see them doing a thing, and it's going to be hard to navigate with the Christian thing, because I agree with you. They want to do another Christian match, but I could see them doing a thing where Copeland is almost so obsessed with this Christian Cage thing that he can't think of Garcia taking what he wants, which is that win, you know? And that would be kind of in line with the character he was playing when he was Concerto and everyone and so on and so forth. So do we all think, like, do we think Copeland's going to be involved in this match, or do we think Garcia's, like, what's your actual, what finish
think he's involved.
Okay.
I think he's involved. I'm not sure who wins. I could see Garcia winning, and I do want him to win.
Yeah.
At this point, I would call it 60-40 Christian wins. But what everything you just said makes a lot of sense, Joe. But I think if they go that route, I think you just put Copeland in the match. You know what I mean? Just make it a 3-way instead of Concertoing him, taking him out of it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's interesting. It's this card. We mentioned the build-up. One thing we didn't really discuss is one of the big strengths of this card, beyond the obvious, which is the match quality is going to be superb. A lot of these matches are hard to call. Like, we'll maybe have a kind of glance later on when we get done with Dynamite, but this is another one, and I think this match could have so easily been predictable, but here in one segment, we've all left it going, Garcia should win, you know, and that's the job of these segments, right? That's the point. So, yeah, I don't know, Charlie, where's your current prediction at for this? What are you saying?
I want Danny to win so bad. I think this is like I think they have to pull the trigger on him here, because if he doesn't win here, I guess he's going to feud with Adam Copeland, and Christian's going to be there as well. But like, if you're going to do that, like you said, just do the 3-way. Like, I don't know. I think Danny's got to win here, and then maybe Copeland takes out Nick Wayne with a spear or something. Like, he tries to interfere at the end. Danny gets the win, and then Edge turns on him after. Like, I'm coping because I really want Danny to win, but I really could see Edge costing him as well now.
AEW has the opportunity to do something here that's really, really, really
special.
fucking cool and really, really, really inspired. Like, no matter how much you like AEW, I think you could say the title booking for the most part, you could see where it was going, like, except for like the Sammy era TNT title and shit, and like maybe like Wardlow and Hobbs were just like, well, why would you do that? But not in a good way. You would be, why would you do that? Because it was stupid. the way they were booking the belt. But I think they have the opportunity here to do something really cool, really inspired, something that a lot of people aren't like just saying, yeah, it's Danny's turn, let him have the belt. No, bro, it's like it's not necessarily Danny's turn, but it would be fucking awesome if it was his turn now, and we gave him the ball and let him see what he's able to do with it with a TV title. So I don't think like a lot of people want Swerve to win, and if Swerve wins next weekend, everybody's gonna celebrate, everybody's gonna be happy. Everybody's gonna be like, it was time. They had to do it now. You couldn't do it any later. Thank you for doing the right thing. But this is like uniquely different in another way. Joe, do you remember a time where people were just like, I can't believe they put the title on this guy? Like, this is amazing. I'm so happy in AEW.
It's a great point. It's that kind of organic title change where a guy just catches fire, and it's I like the point a lot. And there's a comment here that I think speaks to kind of what we're suggesting, which is says Christian's reign needs to be utilized to elevate someone. And I think that's, Christian has done a hell of a job with this belt. We're talking title lineage and we're thinking back through the reigns of AEW. Wasn't that long ago we were looking at this TNT belt and it was rough.
It's finished.
Right?
It's finished.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the names, and here we are with Christian Cage has done such a great job. They had a main event of a pay-per-view in October, and I agree with the point. It feels like it should go to someone who could really. Adam Cutler doesn't need to be the TNT champ. To your original point, So yeah, I mean, either way, I think this match could be. And again, with Revolution, there's so many great matches. Placement's important. This thing could be terrific. I mean, Garcia and Christian are so like-minded. It should be great. So
I might open the show with it, especially if DG would go over. Open the show with
that would be. Wouldn't that be a statement if you had the first match, Garcia wins the TNT title, and then second to last match, Swerve wins the world title, and it's like it would feel like a new era, right? It would feel
it's like we're back. We're back to being what we promised.
Isn't Danny's from Boston as well, isn't he?
No,
he's
Buffalo.
from that area. No, Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Close enough. I was going to say it'd be a cool moment for him to go into big business with Bell, but never mind. It'd still be cool, but
it's tough to track here. From Britain, it's tough to track these things.
Yes.
You need Excalibur to tell you every week where.
Yes.
Hey, bro, if it wasn't for footy, I would know it was like England, Manchester.
Yeah.
Liverpool, bro. So it's in Birmingham. That's it. That's all I would fucking know. So I don't judge y'all on being geographically challenged.
Yeah,
but when a funny moment from the stream last night was
God.
Charlie trying to figure out where Oklahoma was on the map, and she's like conversing with Rob about this. And like Rob has no fucking clue. And I'm like, Rob, what is your excuse, bro?
I need to see this clip.
He's like, well, if you go from Louisiana, it's not like directly above Louisiana, but it's in the general area. Like, if you just like,
he was talking like I know where Louisiana is. Like, bro,
it's like right above Texas, Rob. Like that's all you need to say. Like it just borders Texas to the north, and Rob was just like, "Oh." Shout out to the little homie Rob, bro. I'm gonna get you that private tutor that you've been saving up for.
Tremendous. I need to see this clip. When you do those watch-alongs, you go off in all sorts of directions. You have to, right? Because otherwise, you can't just sit there and do play-by-play for 2 hours. No one wants to hear that. You go off in a million and one directions. Speaking of different directions, up next we had a Hangman Adam Page, Hook, and Rob Van Dam backstage interview, and Rob Van Dam has always been. He's charismatic in a strange way in that he doesn't really do anything to be charismatic, right? He just kind of stands there and he's it seems to have multiplied as he's aged. He's standing there while Hangman's yelling, and he's hilarious to just look at as Rob just kind of takes in this backstage wrestling promo. Hangman kind of foreshadowing what he was going to do in the main event, right? This kind of idea of like leading the army into battle and kind of annoying the two partners by doing so. I'm enjoying this kind of shift that we're seeing with Hangman. It's interesting and feels fresh. Charlie, how are you? I know you've been on the Hangman heel thing for about 10 years now. So how are you feeling about this latest development?
I've been enjoying it so much. Like his single-mindedness to just get his hands on Swerve. It's really good stuff. Like they've been handling this feud pretty well, but really well, to be honest. This backstage segment was very funny. Like, Rob Van Dam just wanted to smoke with Prince Nana, which I thought was fucking hilarious. But it's just what a moment. Hangman's great, and I'm glad that he's doing new stuff with his character. Even if it doesn't end up being a full heel turn, I will let it go if they don't go that way fully. But it looks like this is what they're doing. Like, I'm not being delusional, I think.
No, you're not. No, they're leaning pretty hard in that direction, to be honest. Like, he yelled at Rob Van Dam. There's no much, you can't get much more heel than yelling at Rob Van Dam. I just saw the comment in the chat. I didn't realize this. Do you see this? Rob Van Dam is in WWE 2K24 while being like a semi-regular on AEW TV. This dude's, that's levels, bro. Doing that in your 50s.
What a fucking
How's he pulled that off, bro?
What a guy.
Any thoughts on this promo before we move forward?
No, I really liked it. I think it accomplished what it set out to do. Like, Hangman's just, like, like I brought up how Hangman was more concerned with injuring Swerve than he was winning the match, and they played that out physically in the ring, but they set it up really well with this promo. And Rob Van Dam's just like, bro, I don't really, like, he wrestled Swerve. He's like, I don't really give a fuck about any of this, bro. Like, TK's cutting me a check. I heard Nana's got weed. Why are you, like, yelling at me right now? And then Hook's just standing there chewing his gum or whatever. He's just like, I agree with RVD. Like, hey, man, you're kind of tripping. And then Hangman's just like, Hangman feels like he's going crazy because, like, nobody understands why he cares so much about this. When he's absolutely right, bro. Like, Hangman threatened his baby. And everybody's just like, well, you know, Sir's got the song. He does the cool moves in the ring, you know, Nana dances. I don't know, man. Maybe your baby had it coming, Hangman. Like, that's basically
the baby's got bad vibes.
Maybe your baby's got bad vibes.
In the same line of thinking, it does rule the idea of, like, because Hangman picked Van Dam as he's, like, you know, representative. The idea that was his pick of it, like, he'll get it, you know, like Van Dam, he'll understand, you know. Yeah, he just shows up like, it's fine. Tremendous stuff. I think next is probably the night's big miss. I think it's fair to say we had the continuation of the Tony and Deonna business. Now, in concept, this was fine, right? Dueling wins and getting over these new finishes and kind of continuing that dynamic. That's fine. The issue, of course, the execution. The Tony Storm part of it is just she got a win over a local town. I think it was Sydney. I've got here Sydney Winnell. I apologize, Sydney, if I mispronounced that. Then Deonna wrestled Madison Rain. And look, folks, I mean, this was just terribly unfortunate. I mean, it is what it is. It's there's not really any way to dress this up. First couple minutes, because I'd been told this match like went off the rails, and first couple minutes I was like, they're doing fine. And Madison she just hit the wall at like the halfway point. It wasn't a long match, but you saw like everything slowed down, and I mean it got super slow. And then we had a scary moment at the end there with Madison like getting spiked. So hopefully she's okay, because like obviously like
she did tweet earlier that she's okay. So
yeah, that's good, because that's, you know, much more important than our opinion on this. But obviously doing what we do, there's no way to dress this up. This was a rough.
It was pretty dark.
Night at the office. Yeah. Charlie, anything really to say? I mean, it's not one to really dissect. It just was a bad wrestling match, unfortunately.
Thank God this wasn't the go home angle for this feud, because it would have been a real disappointing way to end. I hope they end on a solid note next week. I'm glad Madison's okay. Match fucking sucked. I'm sorry. She should. You're telling me there was not a single other person in that locker room they could have put her against for her to have a better showing? Like, I don't know. She got Deonna got stitched up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Her opponents have been kind of crazy. If you actually look at it, it's like
she made it work for the most part with this really bad opponents list. Like, she's made it work. But last night was not one of those instances. This has a 2.67 on Cage Match, and you know what I will say is this is the benefit of the added care and like time and like effort that's been put into the women's division, because if this same exact match happens like 5 months ago in AEW, we're talking about this until next Wednesday's Dynamite, bro. Like, it's the end of the world. Tony,
if this
Tony
happened
Khan
in
is planning
January,
genocide against women. Yeah, like, so like it was a terrible miss, but at least it wasn't what we're used to getting from the women's division. And I think them like continuing the story beats helped because people did enjoy the story aspect of these matches and at the post match shit that they had going on. So that it was like a shit sandwich, bro. It was, shit was decent on the edges, shit in the middle.
Very colorfully put. Absolutely.
That needs to be that probably needs. I think Madison Rayne should probably call it a career though. Let's wrap this thing up.
I do think, and because I know people, whenever Madison wrestles, people always are like kind of questioning her qualifications as a coach. I have genuinely heard positive things about her in that role, like legitimately. And there are some really good wrestlers that are very, very bad coaches. That's a weird, like I'm sure we've all heard examples. I've heard good things about Madison as a coach. It's just her AEW performances have been like, they've been noticeably rough. So I think Chi-Town
It's not as likely as Spring Chickens. So.
No, she's been wrestling. She was on TV 16 years ago, 15 years. It's a long time. So, I believe we have a super chat from Chi-Town Spurs, correct?
Okay, we do. Chi-Town Spurs $5 super chat. Madison, thank you for the memories, but it's time to be a coach full time. I agree.
Yeah, there's no shame in it.
Nobody can do anything forever.
It's mentioned. I kind of asked Ibu about this earlier, and he hadn't heard anything. But it wouldn't surprise me if this match came about pretty late in the day, because I know, there was talk, as we said earlier, about the kind of replacements and such. And maybe I'm giving them too much benefit of that, but I don't buy that this was like their first. Their ideal, their preference in terms of the match for you. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Either way, folks, please do like, subscribe, and if you are in the mood, keep those super chats coming. If you have a hot take on the booking moving forward of Madison Rayne, this is the place, the moment in time to bring it forward.
We'll dissect it.
You know what's crazy about professional wrestling, Joe?
What's that, man?
Someone out there who is allegedly of sound body and mind, has the ability to vote, pays taxes, is gainfully employed. They feel like Madison Rayne should probably be the world champion. And they feel like AEW has been doing her a disservice to their booking. That's one of the things that pops me about wrestling. Because if you look hard enough, bro, you will find a super fan of literally anyone.
Yeah. That's not something I really intend to seek out, to be honest with you. I'm gonna take your word for that.
I don't seek them out. They just pop up in my timeline sometimes. I'm just like, I didn't know you had shooters like this. It's very funny.
Like, especially if you have like a large following. Like, let me have tweeted that. Like, let me have tweeted any of these thoughts that we just expressed right now, and I promise you, they would have found their way to my account and been like, Madison Rayne is actually the GOAT, and TK's been screwing her.
You just don't see the vision.
It's a tough, because like when, like, Charlie, you mentioned that Madison tweeted, and it's like, it's always I think we've said this a million times. It's always worth reiterating. It's like, what we're doing here, we have to be honest about the match. It was a bad wrestling match.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all aware people go way too far and make it like a personal, bend, so on and so forth. But you've now reminded me that is the other side of it, is the like the unhinged. Actually, maybe they should put the belt on her. Which, I mean, it takes all types, folks. God bless. We all have our opinions. I'm still waiting for Dustin Rhodes to win the world's title, so we're all hanging in there.
Right, any moment now.
Any moment. Now.
It's coming.
But again, I am glad that Madison is doing okay, because that was a terrifying bump. So that bump. I'm glad she's crazy. Okay, this was my favorite thing on the show. Up next, folks, Darby Allin and Sting. Special promo here as Sting. Wow, this delivery was different to anything Sting has ever done. And think of the ground that we were just talking about Madison Rayne being on TV for a long time. Sting has been on TV for almost 40 years. And this promo felt like a singular moment in the history of his career. Like, that's a unique thing to say, right? And Darby had the photos of Sting with his kids from back in the day. Sting mentioned the recent passing of his father, and he transitioned with. I've been thinking about my own mortality a lot, and this kind of idea of realizing he's not invincible and the time's running out. This is honestly like a classic segment. I think this is something that we're going to see on our timelines a lot for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And this Sting run has been special, and I think this moment goes close to the very top of those. There's been a lot of special moments. This was really moving. Like, it's crazy to think Sting wasn't once a promo guy, and here he is cutting this. This was special, Charlie. What did you make of this promo segment?
It made, like, obviously we've known that Revolution is Sting's last match, but this made it feel so real. Like, this was just like, oh fuck, we have one Dynamite with Sting on it left. Like, that's crazy. And this time, like, this promo was very special, and gutted for Sting that his father passed away. God rest his soul. But man, this was a special moment for him. Like, I don't know if like there's gonna be a promo that sticks with me the way that this one has for like the last 24 hours, like this year. Like, it was just special, man.
I love the point too, because it's not something that lives in a vacuum, right? It's like, it's an incredible promo, it's an incredible delivery, it's very touching, it's very moving, but it's also, anyone who's a fan of Sting, when he talks about his own mortality and not being invincible, all those memories flash through, and everyone has different memories. For some people, those memories are as recent as like the Seth Rollins stuff, or the whatever Survivor Series, all that stuff. Some people, it's back to the 80s. It's like he's one of one in a lot of ways, and here he is doing some of the best work of his career at, I think, 64, 65 years old. Outrageous, honestly. Hey, I know we were talking before the show. You had a little bit of an interesting experience with this segment, right? It's one that you kind of reflected on today and got more out of. What did you make of this?
Yeah, so when I watched this last night, I was like, oh yeah, this is a good promo. Like, I love Darby Allin. Don't get me wrong, love Darby Allin as a talent. When he talks, when he has the microphone in his hand, it's not exactly a moment where I'm like, all right, Darby's got the mic, let's see what the fuck he's talking about. So like, my brain like halfway shuts off or whatever. I liked it. I didn't love it. I went to the timeline last night and people were calling it all-timer and all of that. And I didn't really get it. And I rewatched it today and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't know if it's the copious amount of cannabis that I partake in during Dynamite and I was just kind of like numb to it and wasn't really like processing the words. But no, I loved it. I usually like Darby being like the dark seller thing. I'm taking a leave with that. Usually I agree that it does fit his aesthetic. But right, like in this instant, it really worked. Like, especially Sting like cutting that somber promo about like how his dad passed and all of that. It's amazing that he was able to come to work this week, but I think that he understands if you're 65 years old and was blessed to still have your dad around, like, you're blessed in that regard. Like, it's not, he was like in his 80s, 90s at that point, probably. But yeah, man. So he just, as if this match needed to mean anything more, it's things like, I'm fighting for my dad too, who just passed away. I've loved this build. I've loved everything about it. I think everybody's playing playing their part to near perfection. The Bucks are killing it. Sting and Darby are killing it. I can't wait until the match. This is probably the most excited I've ever been for a non-world title match in AEW.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very special. And there's also going to be some kind of like, you can tell there's going to be some extra stuff with Sting because, there was the Nash quote, right, about like he was invited. So that suggests that people are going to be there from Sting's past.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan, whether you like or dislike him as a booker, I think the one thing everyone agrees on is that dude has a great admiration for Sting, and the way he's treated Sting has been incredible. So I think they're going to do everything they can to make this special. And it already feels that way before even then. It's what was kind of most striking about this, I thought, was anyone who's ever seen Sting's old promos, I mean, he would yell for the sake of yelling. Right?
Yeah.
He was so animated and over the top. And here, it was the complete contrast. This is the most direct and human probably he's ever been on a wrestling show, honestly. Like, but what made it great was when he would do that kind of promo in TNA and he would just be a normal person, he'd often not have the paint on, right? And he'd be out there in like his merch. But here, the visual was even better because you had that kind of cinematic style. He had the paint on, but behind it was just a dude talking to you. It was like, yeah, I as you can tell, I love this. This was it is wild. It's wild how long we've got this thing run being 3 years. It's crazy to me. Like I've enjoyed every minute of it. Like not all the matches have hit, but having him around has been such a treat. So
I do not know what I was expecting when Sting's music hit in AEW, but it definitely was not this. This has been amazing.
God, it's been a wild ride, isn't it?
Yeah, anyone who tells you they expected this is lying.
Lying.
There's no way.
Lying, bro.
Like, we all wanted, like, when he started teaming with Darby, we all wanted the Bucks match, and we were all gutted we didn't get it in 2021 when they were doing their first heel run. But the fact that we're getting it as Sting's last match, I never would have predicted this. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. We've got some wild matches and combinations out of Sting in his 60s. It's one of those ones that fans in like 30 years are going to discover when they're doing the like AEW watchback projects. Like, wait, this happened?
They're like, he teamed with Naito in Canada? Like, what's going on? Like,
for real, yeah. And then they're going to watch the match and go, oh, well, never mind.
But at least we got those entrances.
Yeah, that's part of the charm being a wrestling fan. Okay, up next. This one, I'm intrigued what you both think about. So I don't know how you feel about it. Wardlow came out up next for an in-ring promo. And he started kind of, it's a familiar type of promo, right? Like, talking about kind of he's talking about he's creative, but not doing so overtly. He's talking in a way where that that's what it's about. But it's, I thought he did a good job of kind of navigating that, at least in kayfabe. But initially, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, I don't care about this, but I've got to admit, and it might just be me, I don't know. He got me on board here by the end of this. I was like, I thought he delivered it in a way that was pretty impressive, considering what I generally thought of him as a promo. I ended up thinking this was a good promo. He called himself the uncrowned king of AEW. He mentioned beating up Joe, Punk, MJF. I came out of this like pretty positive on it, and honestly, when it started, I was thinking I have no interest. So credit to him because we've all been talking kind of negatively about this reboot for Wardlow. What did you make of this live promo from Wardlow?
So I'm off the Wardlow train. I do not enjoy Wardlow. Do not enjoy hearing him speak. Do not enjoy watching him stand in the background. Do not enjoy watching him wrestle. But I liked this. It was good. It's a good bit of business. It was it's a well-delivered promo. He made a lot of good points. Nobody's ever beaten MJF like how he beat MJF. He kicks the shit out of Punk, which nobody really has in AEW. To that he lost the match, but he did kick the shit out of him. He has a win over Joe, if not multiple. I don't really remember.
He choked him out.
He does have one. Yeah, he choked him out. So like, his resume on paper, like he has a lot of claims. He's like, why hasn't he gotten a world title match? But then I remember, so like I did like this. I liked the content. I liked the delivery. I liked the segment. But then I remember, it's just like this kind of has to lead to something. And whatever it leads to, Joe, I don't want to watch it, bro. I don't want to watch it.
There was the way he was talking about all these former champions he's had matches with, and the way that he's like beating down on him or like beat the shit out of him, whatever. I was so scared for like 2 seconds. I was like, fuck, is he gonna face Okada? Like, is this what we're doing? Like, I was like, oh no. And then they started talking about Meat Madness. I was like, what the fuck's Meat Madness? But I did think this was a good promo though. Like, I threw a hissy fit when he came out. I was just like, I want to fucking see Wardlow. And then he got a decent promo. I was like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, Meat Madness would be interesting. I'm assuming we're getting like Miro, Hobbs, Satnam Singh.
Oh my!
Maybe old Paul White throws on the knee brace one more time, Joe. Maybe he throws on that knee brace one more time.
Oh,
Big Bill.
Now you're talking my language. You said Satnam and Paul White, so now I need to see what they got. I mean, have they explained what this is? Did I miss it, or have they just said Meat Madness?
They have not explained it. But my pure assumption is super heavyweight over the top rope battle royale. That's what I'm assuming we're gonna get.
I don't think they're doing Face of the Revolution ladder match this year.
Yeah, I don't want to see a super heavyweight battle royale, but Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it is.
As long as
You're
Big Bill's in there,
probably
I don't really care.
Battle Royales, that's totally what it's going to be, isn't it? That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm over
There's
them,
gotta be
bro.
so
Like
more.
I don't like them anymore. I don't like them anywhere. I don't like
Do you
them
know
in
what would
AEW. I
roll?
don't like them in WWE. I don't like them in New Japan. Like
They should do like a 10-minute scramble match where it's
Ooh,
like
I do like a scramble.
all of the, you pick like 4 or 5, maybe 6, I don't know. And you just, because you could do so many believable falls with these fellas. They're so big,
Yeah.
yeah.
That could be fun. And it could be like a race to the finish at the end. Paul White gets in and throws a punch at the end and
The
goes
knockout
up.
punch.
Okay,
Like,
so
I think there's
six big men in AEW. Who would it be? So obviously Wardlow, Hobbs, Big Bill, Satnam Singh. Stuck.
Miro if he decides to job.
Yeah. Jake. They just put Jake Hager back.
we're forgetting. I feel like we're
Jake
forgetting
Hager's back
obvious.
in the fold.
Keith's out of action, right? Keith's not around.
Yeah,
Yes.
Keith's out of action. Let's see what else we got here.
I feel like we're forgetting obvious people.
Brian
We might not be.
Cage, but
I guess you could say Bishop Conner,
Lance Archer.
Leona, one of those. Yeah, Lance
Leona would be
Archer.
good. Yeah. Lance,
I'm down with Lance Archer.
Let's get Lance in there. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
who we got, Charlie? What's our lineup right now?
So it's Wardlow,
Sorry.
Hobbs, and then like Satnam Singh. I said Big Bill. Then we'll throw out Lance Archer and
We got Brody King.
oh,
Yeah, we
Brody
could throw Brody
King.
King in there.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's
I'm
put
down.
this. I mean, if it's about Raw, they're all going to be in it, right? It's going to be like
Yeah.
Action
we're doing a
Andretti
crowd-
will show up and
I need that.
Do his water gimmick.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all know Revolution is not going to be short on match quality. So if you can give the show a little novelty with this thing, I think that's a great fit.
Yeah.
Like whatever,
yeah.
even if it is the battle royal, it'll be a fun like kind of transition of the show. So
They are
it'll
gonna
be
need
cool.
a cool down match somewhere. Like they're gonna need a match that people are just like,
Yeah.
I can just sit back and I haven't got to like be so present. Like,
Right.
and that's probably what this is gonna be.
Yeah.
Have the
And
crowd
if,
screaming meat, all that.
Yeah.
And if it's good, it's one of those things like any of these deals. Like if it's good, it could be a thing you do. You could do it each March and have some fun with it and add to it.
Yeah.
If it fucking sucks, you never do it again. It's that's the beauty of these things. So, so yeah, that's tremendous. So to face the Revolution ladder match, I assume that like they just realized that it kind of got in the way of what they like to do with the belt, like it did last year, and I guess they just threw their hands up. Yeah. I mean,
I like that they
it's one
just
of those
don't acknowledge when they're not doing these things anymore. It was like the Full Gear Eliminator tournament. They just did not
we're not
acknowledge that
doing
they
it.
weren't doing it.
Yeah.
Well, that made sense because they then had the Continental Classic. So swapping out a ladder match for a Meat Madness match, I'll take it.
I've seen enough multi-man ladder matches for a lifetime. To be honest, I'm happy with this
I was
transfer.
at the one last year, and I remember nothing of it except that Hobbs won. Like,
yeah, to set up that great TNT title reign he had, the poor fella. God bless him.
You know, I like to shit on multi-man ladder matches too, but then that tag match,
that
ended
tag
up being
match
great.
Well, the one with
Ended up being
FTR in
a
it.
lot of fun. Well, you know.
Rich was also in that match.
That match kicked ass genuinely. That was a tremendous
was
match.
awesome.
Was that Full Gear? Full Gear,
Yes,
right?
it was.
I think it was Full Gear.
It's one of the better matches on the show, wasn't it?
It was one of those things. It was one of those things where a bunch of artists just got to work, and then you also just like FTR was in the corner playing with their fucking crayons and shit, just coloring a picture, and everyone was like, "Yeah, good job, y'all." Dax was fucking eating them and shit. It was crazy.
What do we think, Charlie? The best match of the show obviously was Hangman and Swerve.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Oh god, it was
What would
the
be-
MJF Jay White match. Ooh.
It sure was.
There was also the 6-man with Sting, Darby, and Edge, but I cannot remember who they faced.
They faced Christian's.
They did face.
Yeah.
I just remember crying at Metalingus because I don't know. I think I was drunk, but
it was an interesting show, wasn't it? That Full Gear show. Interesting.
It really was. Oh my god, that had the fucking Golden Jets versus the Bucks as well. Yeah,
Interesting show.
What a pay-per-view.
Very interesting show. Okay, do we have any new super chats, mate?
We do. Izora Hart, $5 super chat. We appreciate you as always, bro. I honestly think it's time for AEW to start branding AEW like the most important show of the year. It's delivered more consistently than any other show.
I think he means Revolution, but I agree. I tweeted about this the other day. I can't actually take credit for this. I was talking about this in line for Rev Pro with my friend Ben. But Revolution is like consistently the best pay-per-view that AEW produce year on year, I think.
Yeah, I do like the idea of having like a hierarchy to the shows and having like a you have to be careful because you never want shows to feel secondary, but it is nice to have. The only thing is, I do wonder if that's what it feels like. That's what they want to do with All In, right? Which may,
I was gonna. It's tough, right? Because Double or Nothing was the first ever AEW show, AEW pay per view. Then you have All Out, which was supposed to be the successor to All In, right? Before they owned the name All In, and now we do have All In, which looks like it's going to be a yearly stadium show. So it would be hard to be like, well, actually, Revolution is going to skip those three now and be at the top. Look, man, the more amazing AEW pay-per-views we get, the better.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think there's like, when people talk about AEW's, ups and downs on the business front, it does always pop me that folks immediately go to creative when, there are certain things in terms of marketing and promotion that actually is the more key. And I think this super chat kind of speaks to like, sometimes the way they frame their shows, they actually don't do themselves justice in terms of like how great some of these shows are. We talk about this a lot, right? So I definitely think they could give these shows sometimes more of a distinct personality. I mean, this particular Revolution, you've seen like the Sting branding has been really powerful for this show. It's really given it a personality. And I think there's a lesson to be learned for that. Obviously, you're not going to always have a Sting retirement match in your back pocket, but there's a lesson to be learned in terms of like giving a show an actual feel and an identity. So I like the point a lot. I believe Chi-Town Spurs had a super chat about my burner too, didn't he? I think was the other one. I believe he finally caught on to my burner, I believe.
Is it this one?
Oh, okay, I see that. Chi-Town Spurs $5 super chat. There's an Anna J fan I see every show now, and then on the feed that becomes furious every time she loses. Always pops me.
He's on to me.
There's some very enthusiastic Anna J fans on Twitter and at the shows. All I can say is good for her for being able to get over with a certain audience, led by our own Joe Holbert. Get into contact with Joe, shoot him a DM. He holds a Anna J fan club meeting at his home, actually not at Papa Holbert's home, every Sunday. Be there, bring food, bring drinks. It's a good time, so I've heard. I don't take part of such debauchery, but
it's more like counseling or therapy than it is sort of a fan meeting. But we all leave the experience better for it, So, all right, nonetheless. Meanwhile, back on Dynamite here, we had a Bang Bang Scissor Gang backstage interview. I need this to end. I've had enough of it.
Bro, I don't
They didn't do the turn.
And they have a match for Collision. I'm assuming it has to. I'm not even assuming it has to happen here. The turn's happening, but it's just like, and I don't even hate like that. This is the direction they're going in, unifying the title. I actually like it. It's just the whole execution of this thing. Like it's probably one of my least favorite things that's on either Dynamite or Collision. There's some stuff on Rampage that I don't like at all, like the Ruby stuff and the hand. I get it. There's some people that like that stuff. It's not for me. It's whatever. But yeah, man, this 6-man stuff it's not great right now. They need a turn. They need a turn this Saturday.
Yeah, and like, look, we all know that's where it's headed, and that's fine. And I agree with you. The unification. It's just, I think my personal issue with it, which is this is more of a subjective thing, but it's like, I actually really like the Bullet Club Gold Act a lot.
Yeah,
and I've hit the wall with the Acclaimed thing. Like, it's so one note, and I know that people love it, so that's a me thing, and that's fine. But Yeah, it's kind of like it feels like I've lost an act I enjoy because they're so closely attached now to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Charlie, I think you're in a pretty similar spot, right, with that?
I mean, I literally did just throw my hands up at the fact that they haven't turned on them yet. So, yeah, I didn't even want this angle to run. Like, it's nothing against the Acclaimed. Like, I just don't care. I didn't need this. Like, I don't know, man. I hope the Bang Bang there. Oh my god, I can't even. I'm so distraught. I can't even get my words out. But I hope this comes to an end on Saturday because I've had enough. Also, it's time for that Anthony Bowen singles run. Like again, the Acclaimed are a very good tag team, but he's got something, man, and I think they need to explore that.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, we've talked about this a million times, so I apologize, folks, for repeating ourselves. But at the very least, when this is done, we need to get back to Billy just standing at ringside while they wrestle tag matches.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the big one for me. Like, I'm not a huge Max Caster fan, but I get it works as an act.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's part in this is totally unchanged if he doesn't wrestle. He could just stand at ringside and watch them. You know, like it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm ready for this to move on. Even if I agree that like the unification is probably. I mean, I don't think we need 2 trios belts under this particular umbrella.
No.
But
Absolutely not.
the match itself is going to be a total cool down at Revolution, right? You've got to say.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. If that's where it's going to be, it might not even be there.
If it is on Revolution, I would put that after Eddie Bryan because people are going to be up for that match. They need something like just a short, sweet, like 11-minute, like just an 11-minute trios match. Just call them back down. Like, have some cool spots, have Bullet Club Gold win, send it to the next match, like.
Yeah. It also does rule that I've completely forgotten that, as mentioned in the live chat, they came together to fight the Undisputed Kingdom, which is something that I genuinely
have not interacted with them at all.
So much.
That makes sense.
I talk about this every time that they came together to face the Undisputed Kingdom. But the Undisputed Kingdom are doing other bullshit. It's not bullshit, it's fine, it's whatever. But they can't do the story because Adam Cole's injured.
It's just like it's tough, right? Because AEW did this thing where they didn't want to act like the Undisputed Kingdom weren't dressed up like masked freaks for months, attacking the entire roster. So they pretty much had everybody like once it became clear that it was the Undisputed Kingdom, like they exposed themselves. They pretty much had everybody like address it and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna kick y'all ass." But how do you can't like run all those stories at the same time? So people like acknowledged it and then just got on with their lives, whatever. And now Roddy's going for the international championship, and it's just it's tough. Man, I don't know how they could have done this any better, but
yeah, because it's one of those ones where like logically it is objectively bad, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm desperate to see the Acclaimed fight the Kingdom. You know, whatever it is, but it's clearly it's dumb. That goes without saying. It appears we have a super chat regarding the direction of Austin and Billy Gunn. This is very exciting.
Okay, Anas the Sultan. If I pronounced your name incorrectly, I apologize. You can spell that phonetically in the chat. I'll get it right next time. $5 super chat. Thank you. It feels like they want to tell the story of Austin going back to Billy Gunn, but aren't committed to it.
Yeah, that's been the detail, I guess, of these segments, right? Has been that Austin was kind of the one that was initially. I don't know what the long term is there, though, right? Like I don't know what you don't want to turn the Gunn's babyface.
No.
So then, yeah.
I think it's gonna be one of those wrinkles in his story that like really leads to nothing. They were just doing it just to just as like a red herring. It's like, oh, you know, they are a super group. You know, Austin really wants his daddy back. And then eventually Billy Gunn's gonna catch that Blade Runner, and then we get the match graphic. I don't think the Austin Billy thing leads anywhere, honestly. And I honestly don't think it has to. Like I think you should like throw little things in the story like that, just so it's not so obvious where this thing is going. Because I see people convinced on Twitter that like this is just a thing now. Like the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is just a thing in AEW that's gonna last for months and months, or maybe a year, and it's not, guys. It's ending soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, it gives it allows the Guns to have separate personalities. I think they've done a good job of throughout their run, which helps too. Yeah, absolutely.
Will Chisholm, $5 super chat. We appreciate you. To be real, QH, never thought this would be Jay White's storyline after the I think you meant real quick. After the C2, I thought his next program would be Mox. I can give you some insight on that. AEW was planning on doing Bullet Club Gold versus the BCC after the C2, but I don't know. I guess they thought that, well, the CMLL thing, who knows how quickly or how long that's been planned or whatever, and who better to get them ingratiated to AEW than the Blackpool Combat Club. And then I don't know where this pivot happened. I like what the BCC is doing right now. It's unfortunate that they're working FTR right now, but FTR doesn't have a lot of great AEW pay-per-view tag team matches. So we know Mox, we know how kind-hearted he is, we know Claudio, we know he's into charity. You know, give these bum-ass niggas a good AEW pay-per-view tag team match. It can't always be the Bucks. It can't always be the Briscoes on Ring of Honor. God rest Jay's soul. You know,
I always admire the competitive spirit you bring to these programs. I mean, I thought I really had a nice rally with that ladder match comment earlier. But you said you said there'll be more. You always have another one up your sleeve. I respect it. All right. Nonetheless, Will Ospreay. Yes, please do.
Oh, you're just about to talk about Will Ospreay. I was about to say about the graphic. Never mind, continue.
All good. Will Ospreay video package. And then they had the graphic. Let's just stop there so you can victory lap about the graphic, Charlie. I was very excited.
They're doing the all-in graphics.
They are.
I'm so excited. This was the one thing that I beat like a fucking dead horse. I was just like, they need to do the all-in graphics and they need to do them early to generate hype. Lo and behold, Will Ospreay is all in. God bless, I win again. Yeah. The Mercedes Moné one is going to hit like fucking crack, and I cannot wait. Oh my god.
This graphic like broke my dad's brain. Had no idea what this meant. Was so confused as to why they were telling this in February. Didn't understand. He was like, "Why are they announcing this now?" And I was like, "Because Charlie of Great Britain and WrestlePurists asked me." So it's very simple. So, but no, I agree with you completely. It's an easy thing that calls back to the original. It's natural. I agree.
And I like the graphics this year. They're really pretty.
Yeah. I agree completely. So they announced it's going to be at Dynamite next week for an appearance. It seems right. It's going to be to kind of build this, to kind of color this Takeshita thing in a little. And then we cut to a Callis promo. And he mentioned, as we talked about earlier, that Hobbs is going to be in the Meat Madness business. And then he circled back to the Sammy Guevara part of this. And I always forget this is still a thing. It's incredible. Yeah. I mean, will it ever end? I don't know. But
poor Sammy, man.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, and also, I actually agree with you, but it's just at this point, it's like,
bro, no matter how you feel about him as a talent, it's just like you gotta, it's just like he's been given like just a shit hand when it comes to like this Jericho stuff, bro.
Yeah, I felt really bad for him when he came back the last time and he had to just undo his own turn.
Just because Kenny got sick, and who could see that coming? We're just like, fuck, bro.
Yeah, he's like so stalled right now, isn't he? He's got no momentum whatsoever. So yeah, nonetheless, Charlie, any comments whatsoever on, I guess, Don Callis promo? There's not really much to add here, but anything come to mind?
Takeshita looked very good in this segment.
He did.
That was my main takeaway.
He's made the timeline a lot today. Have you seen this? Yeah. Very excited.
Yeah, I've seen it. People are loving the hair down Takeshita look, man. You know, as a heterosexual male, I can admit that Takeshita was exuding aura that's not commonly seen among wrestlers. It pisses me off. It pisses me off that he's not doing more. I know it's hard to say that. It's hard to say that when he's about to work real fucking Ospreay, but it's just like, you know, I wish that we were at the point where it's Takeshi versus Osprey. I don't know who's winning. I know who's winning, bro. And I shouldn't know who's winning because he beat Kenny Omega twice. So how do you go from you beat Kenny Omega twice to, hey, bro, we love you. You're gonna put on a 5-star match most likely, but you gotta lay down for Osprey. You know, a real star's coming in, and it shouldn't be like that right now. I hope he gets far away from the Don Callis family eventually, soon, hopefully. I hope Osprey is not there for a long time. I don't know what his creative is gonna be going into AEW, but I don't.
Yeah. It concerns me slightly. Yeah. I have to say, it does worry me. He could be such a transformative piece for this show, and it's a show we all like. But a Will Ospreay match on like 2 of every 3 TVs, you know, like it'll be transformative. I just hope it isn't bogged down by creative, because honestly, you don't even need the creative to be good. You just need to get out of his way in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's short-lived. It appears a super chat has confirmed AO's Takeshita assessment. Slightly shorter verbiage for this AO, I sense.
Honest, the Sultan, another $2 super chat. We appreciate you. Takeshita is hot. Yeah, this is an opinion that I've seen on numerous occasions. Charlie, are you confirming this opinion?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, there you have it.
Now that he's like dyed his hair darker as well, it really completed the look. I'm very much
I like the way we simplified that, because AO kind of did it like he was making like a doctor's diagnosis of the situation. we cut to it.
Well, you see here, Joseph.
I feel like your glasses are on the end of your nose, you know. It was the super chat said, I'm getting to it. I'm saying what's not being said. Yeah, let's get it out of the way. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Main event time. Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Brian Cage over Rob Van Dam, Hangman Adam Page, and Hook, which is a match that remains funny as I read it out loud here. These fellas had some time. Hey?
Yeah.
They had a lot of time. Now, I'm the low man on this match, but I don't want to kill anyone's party, so I'll get to that at the end. AO, I know you were a fan of this, correct?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I can see why you didn't love it in particular, Joe, but I enjoyed it a lot. They did start slow. When they got to the hot tags, they're accusing me of being horny for Takeshi in the chat, and I'm just very distracted. Sorry.
This is a professional.
Stop that.
Accusing AO when I'm the one that brought it up. It's very funny.
Anyway, no, but no, I like the match. I like the work a lot. Whenever you get to see RVD just run out there and throw the ball around at fucking however old he is, like fucking 53 years old, bro. He looks great out there. Joe's looking like he's having the time of his life working these guys. Swerve came off like a megastar. Crowd still treating him like a megastar. His work was sharp. I feel like the MVP of this match was Hangman Adam Page. He had a killer hot tag. His obsession with Swerve during the match. He had who did he have lined up for the buckshot? I think it was Brian Cage, was it?
I think so.
So he had Brian Cage lined up for the buckshot. Somebody that everybody knew he was gonna get pinned or submitted, right? When this match was all said and done. And he's about to win the match. He sees Swerve out of the corner of his eye. He's like, this motherfucker, bro. And he just goes up. He doesn't drop down from the apron and punch him in the face. He climbs up to the turnbuckle, goes for an Orihara moonsault, bro. I love this bastard. I love Hangman so much. I love what they're doing with this character. You know, I've seen heel Hangman in the past. He was more of just like a, just angry Bullet Club guy. But like this is like something completely different. I don't even know if he's a full heel or not, or he's definitely heel in this story right now, because it was just like, oh, what's this freak's problem? Even though we know his problem, we know he's justified. But like this is a different side of Hangman. Adam Page, bro, like he's gone from somebody that I liked and knew had a lot of talent to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and I can't sing his praises enough.
Yeah, I co-sign. It's been really great to see him kind of like, after his 2023 was so interesting, because if you look at it just match-wise, it was unbelievable. Like an incredible campaign, but the creative was such that he felt kind of inconsistent, weirdly, as a character, right? He felt up and down and not always central. Right now, he's in a rhythm, it feels like. So, yeah, I agree completely on the Hangman front. Charlie, I'm intrigued. What did you make of the match here?
I enjoyed it, but they did wrestle for a long time. It felt like it just kind of kept going. I was just like, did we need the overrun for this, like, necessarily? But no, I did enjoy it. There was some really cool moments, like the hot tags. RVD looked fucking awesome in there. Like, I was glad Hook doing the suplex on Joe. I think it was a suplex. It was something. He did a big move on Joe, and I popped for that. But no, there was like some cool moments, but like not my favorite 6-man ever. I like all the guys. I love all the guys involved, but I don't know. It just kind of. I feel like it just went a bit too long. If it was like 12 minutes, it could have been like fucking awesome, I think. But they dragged it out just a little bit too much.
And I think it was most noticeable for me personally because the role Hangman was playing, obviously purposely, he was not going to be in a lot for the first half of the match, right? Yeah. That tested some of the other pieces here a little bit, I thought. And like, look, I don't think I need to explain that I'm a big Smojo fan. I mean, good Lord, just look behind me. But, you know, it's like, he don't really need to be doing 12-minute heat segments and 6-man tags. And it was about the fourth time that he threw jabs in the corner. I said, he's done that a lot tonight. You know, I looked at my watch and said, we've been here for a while. It was fine. It's one of those cases, I was telling Harry this before we went live, like, a friend of mine loved this match, so I almost had too high expectations when I caught up on it. So maybe if I rewatch it, I'll like it more. But I think this would definitely benefit from a short run time and would be like more compact. I'm finally conceding to the great collision debate of 2023. 6-man too long is my conclusion here. So nonetheless, Joe ultimately submitted Van Dam. And it was, you know, the big kind of talking point was the Hangman injury, or I guess not injury. We don't have none of us have any read on that at this point. But obviously we know he wasn't injured, but I mean, like, why or what that was for. So we'll kind of leave that there and follow up when I presume we'll know more next week. We kind of have to, is to go home, right? So in the meantime, it appears a new character has emerged among our Super Chat family.
Ice Cube Jr., $5 Super Chat. Elimination Chamber this Saturday. Check out our real PLE. Cody gonna finish his story. CM Punk, best in the world. If it's not WWE, it's not important.
Damn.
What's going on with this whole TK saga of like conversing with Ice Cube Jr. on the timeline? Because I refuse to read the tweets out of principle. So like I just don't understand. It's like, why are you trying to be this dude's friend, bro? Like he's literally Nepo WWE Gareth, bro. Like
it's all unbearable if we're being real, right? All of it is like
so weird.
Exhausting.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's
I don't
brutal.
get it.
I don't see a lot of his takes and stuff because I can't bother to read it. But the other issue is the way that folks feel the need to put it on my timeline all day. It's like, God,
it's just like,
find something else,
bro.
You
don't, bro. Joe, when I saw that his interview with Chris Van Vliet was like the topic of the day, and we was going on hour 5 of discourse of this, I was like, let me go see how many views this has. It had like 5,000 views on YouTube at the time, bro. And it had been up for 3 hours. I was like, yo, you guys do this to yourselves. Just ignore it. You don't have to you just make these things worse for yourself, bro. Like nobody watched the interview. You don't have to cry about this shit. You don't have to acknowledge this dude at all. Honestly, but you know, AEW fans are gonna do what AEW fans are gonna do. But as long as y'all do this whole rage bait thing and let these people be successful with it, they're gonna keep doing it, bro. So
yeah, it's the same thing over and over again. It's like and I think none of us are interested in expanding this, discussion about discourse. It's like it is what it is, but it's just
it's never gonna stop.
Yeah, absolutely not. Okay.
The only good thing that he does is that he pushes for AEW to hire Tiger Style. So
shout out to Tiger Style. Shout out to Julian. Immensely talented person. Give him a follow on Twitter if you haven't yet.
That Osprey edit, man. Fucking insane. Check out the YouTube Shorts tab on WrestlePurists. You'll find some of Julian's work.
We post shorts now. We post shorts, Tiger Styles, Hardcore.
Like and subscribe
while you're there.
Yeah, like and subscribe while you're there. We're getting all our.
And while you're here, keep the super chats coming.
Speaking of super chats, Mr. Sultan, another $5. Hangman's injury, if worked, could further a heel turn if he gets pinned.
Yes.
Also, Takeshita is a real man. I don't know if I said this on air at the beginning of the show or if I said it to Joe when we were backstage, but I liked the fold in the match. I was like, Hangman was so obsessed with getting Swerve out of here, injuring Swerve. He didn't make it a secret. He told his teammates, our main priority here is injuring Swerve. And then he could have ended the match. If he ended the match earlier, he would have left it healthy, but he didn't. He ended up getting injured himself with the whole ankle angle, which Fightful is reporting is a complete work. So I like that. I like how I feel like that could make him even crazier too.
Yeah. I like the idea of like Hangman proceeding to work the match, and it's like an actual heroic thing that he's doing, and the crowd doesn't acknowledge that.
Your ankle, bro. Like,
I don't even know if they started doing this like intentionally with Hangman like leaning more into the fact that the crowd's like booing him, or they were booing him during like the Swerve time limit draw and that. But he's so good. It's like so like there's just such little details in the way that Hangman's approaching. Like when he's out in front of the crowd, especially when Swerve's there as well. Like they love him. They always love Hangman. But Swerve's flavor of the month at the moment. Like he is the guy that people want to see. And it's driving him crazy. And it's like a very real thing to understand why. Like we brought it up earlier. Like he broke into Hangman's house like 4 months ago.
It's a conflict and a feud that's really been handled with care. And a lot of times with AEW, there's this trend, and I think a lot of times it's fair, where we praise the performance, we're not so keen on the creative always. In this case, they're actually working hand in hand. The creative has been really good for this Hangman and Swerve stuff, and it deserves credit because it does have, as you said, it's something that AEW used to be great for, and I think we're seeing it come back here. Attention to detail used to be rewarded with these shows, and we're seeing it with this. I mean, it's very compelling stuff, and I think it's intriguing what the kind of follow-up will be for Hangman. Speaking of follow-up, it appears a feud has broken out.
Uh-oh. Is that Gordon Ramsay himself? £2 super
indeed.
Chat. Piss off, O'Shea. You're getting served Ibu wings for real. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Actually, Dax, if you're hungry, I know you and Ibu got a great relationship. I hope my brother could cook you up some of his famous wings. Extra sauce, you feel me? I feel like you'd enjoy that a lot.
I've said this elsewhere. I believe it was on Worldwide, but the actual wings bit itself isn't what pops me. It's the idea of like Ibu like popping huge when he takes the photo. Like this looks fucking awesome, He's
like, oh my god, I'm gonna fuck the streets up with this one. Everybody's gonna know I get down in the kitchen, bro. He posted that picture. Then he told me he stepped away from his phone for 40 minutes, and he couldn't believe when he came back.
It was this night of the Super Bowl, and he took over my timeline again.
Super Bowl, bro.
I just woke up and it was just quote tweet. It was all just Ibu's wings. I didn't know who won the Super Bowl for a good 10 minutes, and that's why I opened Twitter to find out.
I don't care what corner of Twitter you're on. Do you know how hard it is to become the main character of the timeline during the Super Bowl?
He is crazy, man.
By complete accident, could do the homie Berkey.
When he does those spaces now, man. When he does the spaces, I know you're in a lot of those. He took my whole feed. It's just people talking about the spaces.
Yeah, it's just people live tweeting them. Somebody annotated it and posted it to Reddit, and it has like 1,000 comments. I was like, what the fuck? Bro, the spaces used to be a place where we could hang out, say some things that we didn't want to put on like on air on the podcast, shoot the shit, and then the next one is just whatever. And now people are aggregating them. It's on fucking Wrestle Talk in the morning and shit. Like it's wild. It's wild. Oh, Berkey, $2 super chat. Ibu teased the hot dog. Somebody please stop him. Ibu is a pervert. I don't like. It's just we just have to say what it is. Like he's a
That's
fucking
an
pervert,
insane
bro.
sentence to come back to. Jesus.
People are sending him their mystery sauce flavored items of food, and Ibu is just quote tweeting them, going like, I could do that, and he has to be stopped.
He's one of one. He really is my worldwide cohort. But folks, final call for any super chats. We're approaching the finish line here. As we do, it makes sense. Charlie, any final overall thoughts on this week's Dynamite?
I think they did a really good job progressing stories, but a lot of the high points for me were like when the promos. And that's normally not the case with AEW. It feels very weird to say that about the Dynamite, about a Dynamite. But like Danny's promo and the Sting and Darby promo, those are like what have really stuck with me. Like there was nothing wrong with a lot of the wrestling. It was just a 6 out of 10 show with some high points with the promos. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, you can tell you've been doing too many shows for me because you just put a "the" in front of something for no reason. That's
yes.
Be very careful. Nonetheless, I think you're in a similar spot on this particular episode, right?
Yeah. I would say it's clearly the weakest Dynamite of the year, but that's the bar of Dynamites this year have just been AEW Dynamite. Dynamite's been great this year. Dynamite's been great. Collision's been great. It's definitely one of the weaker episodes, but I still enjoyed it a lot. There was definitely things to love on the show. The BCC carry job, the main event, the Garcia Edge segment, the Sting promo. These were all like great things that happened. Who knows how affected Dynamite got this week by the travel issues that TK tweeted out.
Yeah.
The main event probably wasn't supposed to go 30. Deanna probably wasn't supposed to work Madison Rain. Some things can't be helped. But I still think they had a very productive and enjoyable show last night. I'll give it like 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
Yes, I think 6 to 7 is the range. It's good to we were all on some of those review shows when the product was getting a little shaky.
Oh my god!
I think there's a belief online that folks that do what we do want to dislike the show. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to do these shows in a time where we're enjoying it. It's a lot more fun, trust me. So I'm positive on it. Even when the episodes are 6s and 7s, I think things are trending nicely, and we're all pumped for Revolution, of course. Okay. Ayo, do you have any plugs? Anything we'll put over before we get out of here, mate?
What's today? Thursday? No.
Yes.
We will most likely have a Collision stream this Saturday. Like it's just hard to know because we don't know who's gonna be inside, who's gonna be outside, who's gonna be available. Right. We'll probably have a Collision stream this Saturday. Sunday. I know Chuck has something to plug, but I think we're gonna have the first, well, not the first, but we're moving the WrestlePurists podcast itself and not just the Dynamite review to Sundays. So we'll probably do something there. And then Monty's in the chat. I don't know if he's gonna come up here and plug anything. But yeah, man.
This
Well,
hold on a second.
Hold on. I'll speak on your behalf real quick, Joe, before you address Monty. Did Joe run from the grind when Dynamite was terrible? Yes, he absolutely did run from the grind. However, he stuck it out for a while before he hit that wall. He did stick it out for a while before he hit that wall. All right, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I'm not here to say I'm not a coward, but I was brave for a couple weeks at least. I was on these shows when the chat was telling us the Pillars stuff was good. It was driving me fucking nuts. I was losing my mind. Like, it's a year ago almost now. And I did one of these shows when there was like a devil attack, and I was via satellite, for goodness sakes.
Oh my god,
that was one of the funniest things that have ever happened.
You cannot question my commitment to this program. We've had such a calm, this is what he does here, our fearless leader Montgomery. We have a calm night talking about professional wrestling, the game we love, and he charges in with all caps.
Just fucking bury someone.
Just no reason for it. Burying the talent, but I expect nothing more, frankly. So Charlie, did you do your plugs? Did I miss? I
No,
was
she did
distracted by
not.
the personal. Okay, Charlie, what do you want to promote? Go for it. Put some stuff.
I have a few different plugs. So Sunday, Girls on Graps is back. It will be me, Alexia, and Anna. Definitely. We may have a guest. Don't have confirmation on it yet, so I'm not going to tell you who it is. But there may be a guest. If not this week, it will be the week after Revolution. So look forward to that. I also have a couple of guest spots that I did on podcasts recently. There's one coming out March 1st that I did with a podcast called Wrestling is Too Much Fun. And it was a live podcast. We recorded it in person, so that was a lot of fun. Wow. And then I also did some stuff with the guys from Rest Things. If you're not sure who they are also very cool British podcasters. And that was another live one. We did a thing... I think they called it Break It Down. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we talked about Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega on a couple of different episodes. So I'll plug them on my Twitter. You guys know what my Twitter is at this point, as and when they come out. But yeah, keep an eye out. Some fun things coming out.
Gotta say, it feels like Chuck's about. She's on the track to win Wrestler of the Year this year, right? Feels like it. She's
workhorse,
making a lot of towns.
Making a lot of towns.
Reminds me of
Speaking of making towns. I will also be in Greensboro. If you haven't yet realized, I will be there.
Will you have 8x10s? Will you have 8x10s?
I'm working on it. We're working on it. If you see me, you can say hi. Please be normal about it. That's all I ask.
I know people have noticed you a number of times now. Has anybody ever asked for a picture?
Yes.
That's cool. Interesting.
One of our own, Darren Walker. Darren Walker, I have a picture with from Revolution.
You met the Darren Walker in person?
I met the Darren Walker.
And you're still alive? I'm just glad Darren didn't throw you in a fucking fridge somewhere, Chuck.
Well, you went the whole way. What percentage of WrestlePurists viewers that have approached you, Chuck, have led with, I'm a big fan of that Holbert guy? It's got to be, what are we looking, 70, 80%? Were we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You always get brought up in conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure I do. Maybe not so positive, though. All right, folks, there we go.
All right, that's been the show.
Yes, absolutely.
For the more casual Puro fans, Nick Nemeth is making his New Japan debut tonight against fucking Finley Jr.
David Finley.
So that's happening tonight. It starts at 3 Eastern. Just want to throw that out there. I'll probably live tweet the show. I don't know. I'm working from home tomorrow. I'll probably fucking, who knows. But that's all I gotta say. Let's get up out of here.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
It's been real.